What's going on, everybody? Bobby Fire, Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking about this NBA slate. Sheets may not be here for long because he's got some business he might have to tend to quickly. So I'm going to start it off. I'll share my screen in a minute. But I really quickly wanted to say before we get into this slate, I did not have a good slate yesterday, and it's a little, little bumpy path. Ready to get back on it. It's going to be high variance this time of year. But I'm thrilled that my Lakers got the best player in the world and Luka Doncic, and that of course I'm referring to our guy Mark Williams.
Oh, it was really funny because I was watching and I saw that Mark Williams had like 0 fantasy points. I think I had him in some lineups, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And my boy, he really has 0. And then I saw later on in the day that
They traded him.
the best thing I did yesterday, and I could have been sarcastic about this, was I didn't put anything up on Stake Kings because I just knew there was. I missed everything. I missed Giannis being out.
Well, that nobody got that one. That was
really
10 minutes after lock.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I missed a lot. I did have Lillard in some lineups somehow.
But even like Olynyk got traded during the game, and he was the mega shot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, he got traded like in the fourth quarter. I don't know if they even took him out of the game or how it worked, but I know he was traded. The trade was during while he was on the game.
That's amazing.
So it was wild. There was a lot of stuff going on everywhere. And then there was we had Alex Sarr, and then Rashawn Holmes had a
right. So Alex Sarr was in, and then he was out. Right?
He was in, and then they waited 10 minutes into the game time to announce that he was out. Like, that was just so weird. So very, very weird slate.
I have a question. Is it over now?
No, it'll be over today at 1 o'clock, but usually the stuff afterwards. So if you hear about a rumor of a guy being questionable, I'm just going to assume that they're either out potentially.
So when is actually the trade deadline? After today's games, or
4 East? No, it's like 4 Eastern today.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that we'll know by tonight. I just want to make that clear. I've seen that happen a bunch of times before, so it's going to be wild. And then all the Golden State stuff obviously came in. You could, if you had a ton of players left, you could have adjusted, but it's hard to do. Hard to know that they were going to trade everybody then, even though we knew it was possible.
Okay, this is what we're going to do.
Okay,
I have to step out for about 10 minutes.
Okay, you step out. I'm going to start going through.
If I make it back, you know what I mean? Great. Otherwise, you could just kind of get started. I do see a bunch of Golden State guys showing up.
I'll go through it real quick.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, and I've got the wrong caption up here for the design, which is a mistake. But yeah, guys, it's a high variance time of year. Like I said, enjoy it, have fun with some of the long shot plays and things like that. But this is for most people, I hammered at it yesterday. Usually it's a good time for bankroll management is what I would say this time of year. So I'm going to go through game by game real quick. It's a 7:30 Eastern start, so we'll be live at 6:30. But I'm going to jump right into it real quick. All right. So Dallas, we're already getting updates, and there's going to be news that changes. So this is just a reminder. This is the very first look pod video, whatever you want to call it. And I'm already seeing different news all over the place already. So we'll see what happens by tonight. But I'm guessing that it's going to look very different than what it looks like right now. So Dallas, this is interesting. Anthony Davis is present at shoot around. I'm expecting him to play. He's 10-5 in a tough matchup, and I don't hate it. I think there's probably some other options we could look at. I don't really know what they're going to do with him right off the bat, but you'd think they just sort of let him cook. And by the way, I think Kyrie is still a strong play. So first thing I'm going to do when we get the news later is probably upgrade Kyrie's projection. As I mentioned, I did it the other day. It's not like Anthony Davis is going to take a ton of usage away from him. He'll take some, don't get me wrong. But remember, we're still missing PJ Washington. We're obviously no more Luka here. So I think Kyrie at this price is actually kind of interesting. Back to Boston. I'm pretty sold on this one. So he's going to be one of my flag plants at low ownership plays that I'm going to take as of this moment. I don't know if I'm going to continue with that, but as of right now, that's sort of what I'm thinking. Let me just grab this. And feel free to pop in and say hello. Ask any questions when you have a chance, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. On the Boston side, we have Holiday questionable. I'm assuming, nobody's going to move anywhere from Boston. I'd be really surprised. But Holiday is, at his price. And of course, if he's out for any reason, Pritchard, we just plug him in, and Pritchard's already a solid play. And this is the first game of the night, so we'll know beforehand. So I kind of like all of this, to be honest with you. I also think KP is in play. So I have no issues. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to get to Boston today. but I'm not going to be upset with anybody I get. And obviously, if Holiday is out, I will be all over Pritchard, probably White, probably Brown, and actually, I just bump up everybody a little bit. And right now, Boston's side looks pretty damn good against Dallas. All right, I'm just going to close Sheets' chair, and then when he's back, I'll pop in, refresh real quick. All right, let's move over to Houston and Minnesota. Good real life game. Tari Eason looking like a good play. I'm going to go back to what I say all the time here. We still don't have Van Vliet in there, and now we have the little break. I think Amen Thompson is a tremendous tournament play today, even in a tough matchup. I understand that he's getting more expensive a little bit. This projection should probably be a little bit higher. All you guys need to do is look at the game logs. And again, remember the back-to-backs. If you eliminate the back-to-backs, Amen Thompson basically smashes every single day. Other Sheets. All right, I hadn't gotten very far. I only got through the first game. So anything you want to chime in? Dallas and Boston.
I'm not seeing too much. I mean, Drew Holiday, I guess, looks reasonable enough at 4,500. But aside from that wasn't one of the games I was kind of looking at. You started talking about Houston yet?
I was just about to get into that one. I did throw out that I think that Kyrie is still a really good play in Dallas, and then I just was about to get into Houston. I was just getting into Houston. What do you like here?
No, I mean Houston. I always have to see if Sengun is playing or not. I mean, I guess he's playing.
Yeah.
Tari Eason looks reasonable enough at 5,200, and then as you mentioned, I mean, like Amen Thompson's. I mean, every day, right?
Right.
That's and he's never owned. So, yeah, Amen Thompson, Tari Eason for Houston, Minnesota. Anthony Edwards, 9,700 seems a little bit expensive. I'm not really getting too much of that. Naz Reid, again, 6,300. He's always, has 50 or 60 in him. It's a question of whether he's going to be owned or not. Right now, when I'm running my stuff, I'm really not getting too much of him, though, I don't think.
Yeah, I really like both Reid and Edwards on the Minnesota side. Edwards, I don't know. It's a little tough. He's coming off of a game. He scored 49 real life points last night. I thought they actually had him at 50, but it turns out he only scored 49. He had a 45% usage rate last night against the Bulls. That's like an absurd number for anyone. And I do like Edwards without Randall. I think Edwards and Reid are both in play, but Reid I feel like should be more popular. Reid also put up like 50 fantasy points last night, and that was against Chicago, of course. But like that game ended up close. Back to back for them. They're underdogs at home. Feels like a good spot to take some Anthony Edwards and some Naz Reid to me. If you wanted to speculate on the back to back, I think you could play Rob Dillingham. Would be the speculative play, but yeah, mostly it's going to be Amen for me from the Houston side. But I don't mind Jalen Green or Tari Eason either.
Yeah, actually, I'm now looking at my exposures that I'd be getting right now, and I would, in fact, I'd be getting 33% of the Naz Reid. Yeah.
That makes plenty of sense to me. On the other, moving on to Orlando, Denver, anything standing out for you here? Because this is, back to back for both teams. Feels like we could see some funny business with resting and whatnot. Anything standing out for you?
No. I mean, Aaron Gordon is doubtful.
Aaron Gordon is doubtful. I'd be shocked if he plays.
Well, I mean, you could keep playing. What's his name? The Brown. I mean, he's always really active. Aside from that, I'm really not getting too much of this one.
Yeah, this is a weird, the back-to-back both sides, and then you have both Franz and Paolo coming back from an injury. So, I mean, I'm curious what they do here. I'm a little surprised that Denver's not even more of a favorite. They're favored by 7, but it feels like, back-to-back from Portland to Denver for Orlando. Denver at least gets to stay at home. Feels like it's a pretty big disadvantage for Orlando, and it's going to be tough for them to stay in this game. So as of right now, it would only be Paolo for me from Orlando, but even that's not a priority. And I do like Jokic, and as you mentioned, I think Christian Braun is a terrific play. I think we have to just keep doing this. We're riding this at this point. He put up 46 yesterday, and that was in 29 minutes with Gordon in. With Gordon out, it just bumps him up even more, and he's like got a high floor and an extremely high ceiling. So I really like the Christian Brown as long as, remember Westbrook's already is still out, and so is Peyton Watson. So they're missing some rotation pieces. I think Julian Strother is going to look pretty good by the end of the day once they remove the Gordon projection. So I actually think that the whole Denver side is interesting. Just a reminder, Orlando plays a little slower and plays pretty good defense.
It's so funny. Like I was going to mention him yesterday as being someone that, boy, remember when this guy would put up a ceiling what happened to this guy? And as I was about to say it and didn't, Michael Porter Jr. went off last night.
Oh yeah, he went completely nuts. And I know he's projecting well today without Gordon at back-to-back. Yeah, sure. I mean, look, it's a back-to-back, not the ideal, but he's put up 68 and 52 in the last 7 games. I guess I should have mentioned him. I guess the main story would be without those guys, just that all of the Denver starters are firmly in play is the best way to put it.
Well, we talk about this. I mean, I kind of joke sometimes about this one-game slate business, but this Golden State Laker thing, I mean, I'm getting just like, this is what I'm getting. I'm getting three Warriors and LeBron and Rui, and actually in DFS also, and just piling in this game. Like I'm right now getting 95% LeBron James and 96% Brandon Pozinski and these other guys like Curry and Hield and Rui are just kind of filling this in. So that's what I'm getting right now.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because I think it's actually going to look even better than it does right now because Draymond is doubtful, but they still gave the projection on him. So once that projection goes away from Draymond, it's going to be spread out through those other guys. So I really think that it's a little weird to try and Santos is doubtful also. So like it might be a Pat Spencer night. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of guys, Curry on a back-to-back is supposed to be playing as of right now. I just have Golden State as a whole team sort of circled as like, okay, that's something I'm going to target. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Quentin Post
as a big Post and Looney, I'm a little less excited about, but you still want to be playing some of them. But Moody's going to look good by the end of the day. Podziemski's obviously going to look great. Hield is going to look great. Curry's going to look great. So Gary Payton's going to look good once we lose Draymond and Trace Jackson Davis officially, who as of right now I'm not assuming is going to play, but you never know. So yeah, it's going to be the whole Golden State side, and then what did you say about the Lakers side?
LeBron, I'm getting like 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily buying. I love Finney Smith as a real life player. I have no idea why Finney Smith is like projecting this well. He just basically. I mean, we've seen him play 40 minutes in games and he scores like 8 fantasy points. But if we want to take a shot, I have no issue with it. I think Hachimura is the play here. I think Rui, some combination of Rui, Austin Reeves, and LeBron. Sort of Austin Reeves, maybe one of his last chances to really, handle the ball and do a lot of things. He's gonna have to compete with LeBron and Luka. He'll still be solid with that role. And by the way, like the Lakers did give up a lot for that Mark Williams pick, but people got to remember Mark Williams was the top pick. Like this guy is a real guy they gave up on, and people are like, why would they give him up? The Lakers gave up a first rounder with nothing, a trade swap, and they gave up Dalton Connect, which is this year's could have been a lottery pick. So they gave up a lot for him, but it's left some holes. So I do think that Rui, I think Shake Milton is an interesting tournament dart. I just think this whole game, as you mentioned, I just don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. And as we said last time with LeBron, even at 10-8, I mean, he put up 55, but he didn't play the fourth quarter because they won by 1 million. So I think LeBron has a tremendous ceiling here. And obviously, both these teams with the moves they've made are certainly trying to win right now. The Lakers set up themselves up beautifully for the future, but Golden State obviously trading for Jimmy Butler. They're going to do whatever they can to win. Even that Draymond doubtful, I'm sort of questioning it. I'm sort of side-eyeing it because I don't know that I buy that he's doubtful. They need to win games. They need to get into the playoffs. If you're going to make a move like that for Jimmy, who's on an expiring, you got to go for the playoffs right away.
It's funny. We talked about the Lakers when they got rid of AD. We're like, it looks good, but they're going to need a big, and they got one.
Not only did they get one, they got like maybe my favorite one of everybody they could have gotten. A 23-year-old kid who literally is just coming into his own. He's had some injuries back and forth. He's only played 85 out of his 220 games. but you cannot get a better guy than what they got. Like for what they can build around those two for the future. He's a perfect complement to Luka. He's big. He can shoot it a little bit. I just think it's a great move. I had a lot of fantasies of who they could get, and he was not one of them. I didn't know that was a possibility, and I'm just thrilled they did. All right, Sacramento in Portland. What do you like here, Sheets?
Nothing. I mean, nothing, right? I mean, like Zubac again. I suppose. I mean, the same usual dudes like Keegan Murray, Norman Powell, but these are all like such secondary plays here. And I hate to say it this way, but I mean it's Lakers and Golden State, and then who else? I mean, I guess we'll talk about Portland a little bit, but I'm not really getting too much of Sacramento, Portland here. Excuse me. One guy I am getting. I went to the wrong game. Sorry, I have Sacramento, Portland next. So sorry about
that. I said Sacramento, Portland.
Oh, we are doing. Yeah. So I am getting Avdia at 6,600. Just kind of some random market weight guy here. Aside from that, I'm a Keegan Murray. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably worth noting before we go into this game, and I started doing it with all my bets lately. The last 5 games, I think I bet on Portland. Before that, I'd bet on the Portland should even be bigger underdogs. Portland's won 9 out of 10. They've been the best team in the NBA, and I'm just excited for them to have a real team and something to build around it. And the proof that getting rid of Dame and starting over was the right thing to do for them, because they were never going to win a title like that. I think Sabonis is, and I think Keegan Murray is maybe about to erupt in general. He's going to have some good and bad nights. He's going to be all over the place a little bit, but I think he's got a massive ceiling. It just really depends on whose game it's going to be. I think he's going to start playing better though with the way their lineup is currently constructed, because there's less ball. The ball will be shared between all these guys a little bit more than being in Fox and Sabonis's hand the whole time. But yeah, Sabonis, Murray, then DeRozan probably for me if I had to pick 3. And then on the Portland side, with their winning, it's also been somewhat spread out. So Avdia looks the best. I'm going to bet that they're going to try to trade Jeremy Grant before the end of the day, even though things are cooking and they still have a good shot at the play-in and all that stuff. I don't think they need Jeremy Grant to be a part of that. So I think a lot of good teams that are close would like to have a guy like Jeremy Grant. In fact, I think the Lakers would very much like to have a guy like Jeremy Grant. I don't know that they would be able to do it, but you get my point. He's just a guy who can sort of fit in to that 5th or 6th best player role and play good defense and historically shoot well enough. But I agree with you that Avdia is the best, and I think Ayton is also a solid play. But this is one of those teams that I would circle and say, okay, if you want to bet on waiting for late news, there might be some late news in Portland. Then again, they've won 9 out of 10, so what kind of late news can there really be? Why do we need to trade anybody if we're just going to keep winning games at that clip? So, and it's for real too. They've looked really good, and one of the best bets of the day, in my opinion, already is Portland -1 over Sacramento.
By the way, you were dead wrong. I did not get 100% Scotty Scheffler. I got only 89. So
you got only 89, which is like just above the field.
Basically market weight, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I went well under, and I was telling people that the projections. I was like, these guys, there's no way this is not going to be like a high buy-in, like 90-80%.
He's 80% in the 888, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's I know. I played 2. I used them in 1. So I guess I'm underweight in the 888.
What happens?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Indy in LA, Sheets. Anything standing out to you here?
I mean, no. I mentioned the kind of Norm Powell as I was just breezing through it earlier. Kawhi's under 7K, I guess. Aside from that, I mean, not much.
Yeah, the Pacers, there's no Q tags, but there's still, as always, every year, like clockwork, you have the Miles Turner rumors. We'll see what actually ends up happening with that one.
Ooh, you know what? You probably talked about this when you talked about this game. You mentioned Kyrie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's being a little undervalued by the projections.
Well, he's going back to Boston. That's a big deal for him.
Yeah, and back to Boston. Yeah, of course. I mentioned both. I didn't work the other night because they got absolutely housed by the Lakers, but I would like to go back to Ivica Zubac tonight.
Yeah, sure.
I think it makes plenty of sense against Indy. And look, they pay at a good pace. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for Zubac to have 20 and 15. And by the way, the biggest mistake sheets. Whenever I do this, don't let me do it again. If you can do it, when I make a statement like Zach Edey last night, let me stick with it. Don't let me.
You didn't play him after all that.
No, I had 12% of him, but I could have easily had like.
How did he do? He got 40.
What he got? He had like 40.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt right, and then the game turned into a blowout, which you could argue helped and hurt him. I don't know which one, but either way, it was the right idea. But yeah, I like Zubac and Kawhi a little bit tonight, and I think Harden's even at a reasonable price for this matchup. So, kind of like the idea of one Clipper. And look, this isn't my core plays. You know, I'm not gonna. I'll post those later on the site after probably late afternoon before we go on again, because I want to get through the trade deadline and see who's actually still.
It is a 7:30.
Yeah, so
start date. So we can go 6:30 or so.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it right now with I think there's going to be some things that happen, but I've got Kyrie as my differentiators from the first look. And again, these guys, the ownership's going to go up a little bit on these guys. Kyrie, Amen Thompson, Christian Braun, which is not a differentiator, but just a guy I want a lot of. The Golden State LA game, and then Zubac are like the guys who I'm sort of zoned in on today. And otherwise, I'm going to let the projections do a little bit of what they do, and which means I'm going to end up with a ton of Golden State LA, but I'll have some contrarian guys around them. And the other one is whether or not to. I never know what these situations. Usually, the right move is to not go back to a guy like Anthony Edwards after scoring almost 50 last night. Edwards is a little bit of a different breed in a tough matchup. I feel like we could see a similar type performance tonight. So I'm going to put Anthony Edwards on the list as well.
So what do we think Draymond is playing or not playing?
As of right now, he's doubtful. My speculation is that, if they're going to try to win games, are they going to really sit him?
I mean, he's doubtful, but he has a projection.
Right? Yeah, I know. But that's usually Saber Sims' morning routine. They still have and what they didn't do though is they're not hedging the projection. They went for a full projection on it. So it's a little different. So I was going to try to do a Super Bowl thing. I can do it tomorrow solo, but I was going to see if you wanted to do one today. If you I know you're kind of busy though.
I don't have time to do it today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Because I do have to do this MMA thing.
Okay.
And then I have the Ace Stukas thing at 2:30, and then
okay.
I have something else. So I think football I might end up passing on the football content.
Okay.
I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'll try to pop in or whatever. I'm sure I'll pop in with something, but I'm pretty much out. I'll do my best to get projections up while I'm out. I'm sure you guys will see me pop in. I'll see you a little later today, though.
Yeah. How did the live split go last night?
Oh, it was a lot of fun, actually.
I wish I was there.
I didn't have anything to sweat or anything like that. I did a lot of golf things. We did some DGen prop betting. Some guy came in and tried to troll me. Not really troll me. He says, "Hey, who do you like better, Minwoo Lee or Matt Fitzpatrick?" And whoever you say, I'm going 100% on. Right. So I'm like, okay, you want to play that way? Fine. So I literally went through the whole process of separating one from the other, and I spent 25 minutes separating the two of them, and I told them one of them, I forget. And then we did some betting also. So it was not the usual basketball stuff. We went all into stupid golf stuff, which was fun. Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, good luck, and I'll see you at 6:30. If not before. And guys, I'll get a football video out probably tomorrow when we hear about the last injury reports. Then.